All right, y'all, what's going on? It's Combo Breaker 99. I'm back with another post-fight analysis video. All right, y'all, Katlyn Chookagian versus Manon Fiorot. So I had to go back and watch the fight a couple of times just to be able to assess the performance of both fighters again. And I have to say that, yeah, I was a little bit disappointed and a little bit underwhelmed, especially knowing that Manon Fiorot wanted to stop Katlyn Chookagian and seeing the opportunities there and seeing Manon just let him pass by round after round. It did kind of make it disappointing because, as y'all know, Manon called for a second round finish, right? And usually when somebody says they want to stop somebody, you know, you just kind of take it a stride. It's just all talk. But when you see the stoppage there in front of a person, you know, you see those opportunities there to kind of break your opponent down, it gets a little frustrating. And as she lets it pass by round after round, it got it disappointing, you know, because everything I said as far as my keys to victory would have worked for Manon, and she's able to do, you know, so those opportunities were there for her. Now, I'm glad she won the fight. I think she won clearly. You know, I think she clearly won round 2 and 3, but she made it more of a striking match. I know she wanted to prove who the best striker was, but it would have been wiser to prove who the dominant fighter was, right? You want to be the dominant fighter, not just the best striker in there, because, again, you could have let some moments slip away and the judges maybe could have seen Chookagian winning the fight, right? But like I said, Manon, she did enough in rounds 2 to win the fight. You know, she made the adjustments. You know, she was able to step in with her jab a little bit more, secure the third round with the takedown. But with her just using her striking and not using her wrestling and getting more takedowns, it did make the performance a little bit underwhelming, especially when it was easy to take Katlyn Chookagian down, like Manon said, right? So that's what the underwhelming part was for me. Now, again, I'm glad she won the fight, but a lot of opportunities missed where she could have got a dominant victory. Shoot, I would have preferred, at this point, I would have preferred a 30-27. You know, stoppage is something really big to ask for in this type of fight against the #1 contender. So if she would have just wanted the 30-27 victory, I would have taken that. But, you know, she let Chookagian get too much into a rhythm in this fight. And it's like I said, Katlyn Chookagian versus Manon is a 50-50 fight. Many people didn't believe me, thought I lost faith in Manon. But when it comes down to it, Katlyn Chookagian is an experienced fighter. It could have went two ways, Manon dominating / stopping her, or this type of victory for Manon, right? So for Manon in the future, maybe it would be better for her to just go in, get the W, put in the work. You know, don't try to call a stoppage or anything like that, because it does put pressure on you, and it kind of sets the fan standards to a high level, and that's where they start to kind of count you out or maybe doubt you, right? So if she would have went into this fight and just, you know, clearly tried to outstrike Katlyn Chookagian, or just, you know, go through the motions and put in the work and beat her round after round, fine, you know. But when you call for a stoppage, that's a big task. That's a big task that you put in yourself. You really putting the spotlight on yourself, right? But yeah, man, overall, was Manon able to outstrike and use her IQ over Chookagian? Yeah, she was able to do that. You know, she definitely outstruck her and started to figure out, make the adjustments. But did she deny herself a clear-cut victory? I think she did. She did, because, you know, she wanted to stop it. She wanted to make the statement. But when she did not go for takedowns and not use her wrestling or even go to the body, she denied herself that victory, right? She denied herself that clear-cut victory that she wanted. Was Chookagian game, though? Yeah, Chookagian was game. You know, props to that DMX. Rest in peace to DMX. Maybe that's what kind of hyped her up. But, yeah, Chookagian was game in this fight. She was always there, always durable, always trying. Bad fight? No, not a bad fight at all. I think there was just a lot of weight behind it, but this was far from a terrible fight. You know, there was a lot of work being thrown out there and a lot of work missed, you know, as far as strikes. But I think the fight was still entertaining to a certain level, you know, for, you know, a technical analyst like me, you know what I mean? But going back and looking at the fight real quick, first round, Chookagian started early right away trying to find her range with the push kick. You know, she was throwing that push kick out to the body on Manon. Manon was able to catch one of those kicks and tag Chookagian with a good right hook. So I was like, okay, maybe she's going to start stepping in here, disrespecting Chookagian a little bit, going to the body, getting a little bit dirty. But in that opening minute, Chookagian also started setting the pace with her own leg kicks and her own rhythm. So here, Manon, she wanted to apply the pressure, but Chookagian was just being too rangy, and she was making Manon push a lot of her strikes. And a lot of the strikes that she was pushing, they were kind of off the mark. So Chookagian was just coming back with straight strikes. You know, she was the one throwing straight strikes, you know, jab upstairs, right hand upstairs, right hand to the body a little bit. But Manon did start establishing her side kick to the lead leg of Chookagian, and that was helping. You know, that was helping her kind of find her rhythm and her range, because, you know, she would land that side kick to the knee and, you know, add up some points there. But I think that Manon was kind of denying herself any strikes upstairs because she was throwing a lot of loopy shots. Every time she throw those loopy shots, Katlyn Chookagian would just slip them and throw her own straight strikes, right? Like I always say, quickest way from point A to point B is a straight line. So if Manon was throwing more straight jabs, that 1-2, she would have had more success, and that would have opened up more opportunities for her to even go to the body, go to the head, or vice versa, right? A lot of the first round was really Chookagian's style, with Manon just trying to find that rhythm. She didn't really push the pace like she needed to, so I gave the first round to Chookagian. I thought that Chookagian, outpointed her and, landed a good head kick as Manon pulled back at one point towards the end of the round, which is a little thing that you have to look out for Manon. Manon has to be careful when she does that little pullback, because Jennifer Maia, she was able to capitalize off that pullback. And I think that Chookagian, she saw that in that Maia fight, where whenever she's in a clinch, she pulls straight back, her chin's wide open. It's nothing for Chookagian to throw that head kick, because, she's got those long limbs. So she just throw it up, boom, she caught her with one, right? Luckily, it didn't have a lot of power on it. Going into the second round, Manon, she was able to catch one of those kicks again from Chookagian, which would have been a perfect time to take the fight to the ground, but she didn't. She wanted to go back to the striking. So as Chookagian started coming forward, this gave Manon a chance to start landing those side kicks to the body. She started landing those side kicks to the body, but her punches upstairs still a little bit off the mark here. And this was the perfect time, I think, if she was missing strikes on Chookagian like this, would have been perfect for takedowns and just getting ground control time in and just landing ground and pound. That would have been adding up on her strike numbers and doing a lot of damage to Chookagian at this point. So at this point in the fight, you can pretty much say that a stoppage is out of the question. Like a second round stoppage is out of the question, because the pace that Manon is fighting at, she wasn't going to get one. I mean, midway through the round, she started to find her range, and she started landing some good 1-2s. And that's what I like. Like when she let that right jab go, it was working, because Chookagian's not that hard to hit. Like, she's tricky, but her head is there to hit. And whenever Manon let a couple of 1-2s go, she was landing. Every time she would step in, she would land these shots, but sometimes she would get a little bit antsy and throw that wild right hook, and Chookagian would just slip it. Chookagian was still game this round, but she was fighting more behind Manon, so this was Manon's chance to really go after it. She was ignoring that one thing that could have got her the stoppage this round, and that's the body. The body. But I did give this round to Manon, because she did start finding the range, and like I said, she was landing more damage and blows, just not enough to get the stoppage that she wanted. Last round, Chookagian pushing the pace again. This was the chance for Manon, I think, to connect more and get that stoppage, maybe with a check right hook, or again with another takedown. But Chookagian, she starts landing a little bit here. But she's touching the body a little bit more to me. I think she was touching Manon's body a little bit more. Like, nothing really damaging, but she was actually doing that. But this was Manon's chance to get to the body again, because Chookagian was, walking forward, throwing, and she was wide open. So I wanted to see Manon just like hook her to the body like Viviana Araujo did, hook those body shots or throw that side kick over and over until something opens up upstairs, or until you stop her with a body shot, right? So Manon, she did land one good straight right hand this round that did snap Chookagian's head back. But again, she wasn't throwing enough straight strikes to really, keep that momentum going. I mean, she definitely found her range at this point, but the lack of variety, it's what was denying her the stoppage, because the lack of variety, Chookagian was eating shots, but it was like a lot of the same shots she could see coming, right? Because the ones that you don't see are the ones that hurt. Now, the side kick was always there. Both were throwing their push kick and their side kicks throughout this fight, but still a lot of shots missed. A lot of work thrown out, like I said earlier, but, a lot of shots missed. I think Manon connected the better shots. She was being first. I know the last minute she secured a takedown, and that's what was lacking throughout the fight to dominate, because it was just like a takedown to secure the round. It wasn't really like where she kept Chookagian down for, like a 2 or 3 minutes or anything like that. It was just a quick takedown to secure it. Numbers this round, they were pretty close, but I think they were more on Manon's side because hers were more effective when it came down to it. So I had it 2-1 for Manon Fiorot, 29-28 pretty clearly. But overall, like I said, it could have been a better showing for Manon had she had more confidence in her wrestling and the takedowns. Because like I said, at the post-fight interview, after the fight, she did say that it was easy to take down Katlyn Chookagian, right? So she should have been going for that in the first round. I mean, the blueprint was there. I mean, Amanda Ebos was doing it, and Valentina was able to do it. You know, like I said, she's not a physically strong fighter. So even with the added weight, or with her missing weight, I thought that Manon would still have that advantage because she's not a small flyweight. You know, you got to be physical sometime. And, you know, I think that's where, again, Manon denied herself the stoppage because she wasn't rough and tough in there. She wanted to be the best striker. But to me, you got to be the best fighter. And that's what fighters like Valentina do. That's how they stay on top. Like, they don't just focus on one thing. They try to focus on everything, whatever the job calls for at the time. And that's how you have to do it, right? Now, moving forward, Manon Fiorot, after the fight, they asked her what she wanted next. She said she wants a little bit more experience and wants one more fight before she fights Valentina. And I know that got a lot of people steaming. And like I said, look, I ride with Manon, but at this point, if you get the number one, you beat the number one, you know, you do have to go for that belt. It would be wise to go for it. But she did say this before the fight, so I don't know why some people are shocked. She did say it in an interview that if she doesn't look the way she wants, she will go for that other fight, you know, which might be Alexa Grasso as another main event, right? Because both fighters aren't really calling for Valentina. They said they'll take it, but they're down for one more fight before they fight her, right? So that's another video we'll talk about. But all in all, I think Manon Fiorot, she did win the fight convincingly. You know, she did outstrike and use her IQ to be able to beat Katlyn Chookagian. So that does stand for something because not many fighters do that. You know, most just break her and stop her, like the best fighters like Andrade and Shevchenko. But it was still impressive that she was able to outstrike her. But she could have did it in even more dominant fashion if she kept those punches straight and if she went to that body. That's why I said you are your own worst enemy when you're in these fights sometimes, because sometimes when you don't believe in yourself or take full advantage of what you have, you'll see the victory slip away, right? But, yeah, man, that's all I got on this one, guys. I just kind of wanted to go a little bit more in on this one because y'all know how I feel about the beast. Like, overall, final thoughts, I think that going for the belt would be wise at this point. You know, I mean, if she thinks that a fight with Grasso can do something for her, fine, you know, go ahead and take the fight. But it would be wise because you're on a 5-fight win streak now, and the only way you're going to really know if you are the best is to fight the best at this point. You know, you fought the number one, so just go for it, right? That's kind of where I'm at with it because, you know, she is 32 years old, and I think she does have that mindset, size and strength and all of that, you know, she just needs to take full advantage of at this point. Right? Tyler Santos did. I think Manon can. You know, I believe in her like that. So I think she should believe in herself. Right, guys? Combo Breaker 99. We'll talk more. I'm out. Subscribe. Peace.